welcome to Bud's Bustin' Balls, where we bust balls metaphorically, not physically, metaphorically, and we talk about video games, topics, whatever, how handsome I am, just me, not them, because apparently I'm an otter, according to Scott. I don't know what that means. You should ask him someday. He is an expert in this terminology. Welcome to the podcast, everybody.
He
Hello.
really is. He really is an expert, and it's kind of impressive, but also kind of scary.
If you keep growing out that mustache, you're going to be a walrus, Matt.
Is that a term? Or did you make that up?
You're making that up. I don't know that one.
Listen,
not a real thing if Mike doesn't know it. He is the authority.
Well, no, like everything you've talked about, I've heard of. I couldn't explain it to you, but I've heard of it. That is that really one?
We're going to coin it. The walrus.
Okay.
It sounds like you're saying the war us, but I know you're trying to say walrus. Yeah.
Walrus.
Walrus. Is that
Walrus.
like
the GameCube walrus?
Talking's hard. Is this like Matt's evolution? He hit like level 16, and now he's like evolving from Matt the otter to Matt the walrus.
Yeah, and then eventually an actual walrus. But I'll go with walrus. That's cool too.
Cool.
Kind of sounds like a walrus with like a gun. Like, can you just picture like a walrus with like
a
machine gun?
Pokemon.
Yeah, it's like a Pokemon, but I want to just find a real walrus, put some bazookas on him, and just like send him over to fight whatever our enemies are.
Bazookas are his tusks, and then like they totally like open up and then fire rockets out of it.
You just created a Pokemon.
Are you paying attention, Nintendo?
Yeah, you just created a Pokemon. That's Pokemon Company, not Nintendo. Nintendo just benefits from money.
They just make money.
Yeah, they go, Pokemon, you can make the garbage game. And it makes money, and we don't care because we didn't make it, so we don't get scrutinized, and you give us money, so awesome. You just made a Pokemon.
What a win across the board. Hey, we're going to talk about video games today, and a subject that I think would be fun is talking about games that are considered not great, but we don't care because we had a lot of fun with them anyways. So I actually made a list of some games that weren't that well received. Although when I was looking at some of the scores and things, some of these games, like a lot of modern games that aren't considered good, are still getting like 6s and 7s on like Metacritic, which kind of tells you like just the quality of gaming as itself, I think is still at a pretty high. But when we're taking like a game that's a 6 or a 7 and be like, no, it sucks, but it's still getting a 6 or a 7, kind of tells you that like, you know, most games coming out, at least more major titles, are holding up enough. There might be a lot of issues plaguing it, but that's just a little caveat. But I got a list of a bunch of games here, and I want to talk about each of them. Give you guys the floor if you want to talk about the game itself. See if you disagree, agree, you want to add salt to my wound. But there are two in particular I want to save for the end. But one I'm going to pull out because it just got canceled. It is done. It is gone forever now. Rumbleverse.
Oh, it took me a second.
This is a game I was late to. It is a battle royale professional wrestling game. So you get shot out of a cannon. You make your own meathead character. You pick up wrestling moves and chairs and baseball bats and mailboxes and corn, I guess. And you can just like throw it at people and just do all these wrestling moves. And the last wrestler standing wins. I was late to it, but I started playing it, even streamed it a few times. It was freaking fun. But no one played this game, apparently. It was a free-to-play game. Their whole monetary business model was, please buy our cosmetics, please buy our battle pass. They had 2 whole seasons. And then they said, like, well, this isn't making any money. It's going away now. If you gave us money, we'll refund you. And it's gone. The game is gone. I had a blast with it because I am a huge professional wrestling fan. It was a fun gimmick. It was free to play. I absolutely loved it, but apparently no one else did or even bothered to play. And maybe it's a reflection of the game. Maybe it's a reflection of the business model of the current free-to-play market. But I freaking love this game, had a blast, but now it's gone and dead. And I know you guys haven't played it.
So I have a question, actually, a legitimate question about that. Yeah, I have a legitimate question about that. So I saw the game, and me personally, I was like, this ain't for me. Like there have been other games you've played where I'm like, I'll try it at least. And if I didn't like it, whatever. That was one I'm like, what you just described, I was on board with. Like what on paper, I'm like, sign me up. Was Rumbleverse actually like a sucky game? Because I feel like people who actually played it went, this is really good. It's just nobody played it.
Right. And maybe I should say my definition of games that suck are games that not just necessarily bad quality that I enjoyed, but games that just did not do well. Not necessarily like underrated or under the radar. I think that'd be a side conversation for like what are underrated games that you would recommend. These are
That's
games
another
that
good topic for another day.
right. And these are games that were a dud in some capacity, either in how they were presented or just how they underperformed epically so badly that it doesn't exist anymore, which is why I thought for a moment, should I add this to the list? Yes, because the game did so poorly in one area that they said, I don't care about anything else. It's dead now. it's gone.
I mean, how long did it last?
Oh, 6 months. I think 6 months.
Eesh.
Yeah.
That's woo, I didn't realize it was only 6 months. I thought it was longer than that. Oh boy.
Yeah, like I know I've done this rant a lot, and I think it really applies to the situation that I feel like it's so oversaturated, the free-to-play market, that like all these games are crowding themselves out to go and, you know, be the new flavor of the month game. Maybe they do end up being the new flavor of the month, but you know what? Next month's going to come around and you're going to go and get kicked into being irrelevant. And I don't know. I feel like we're just entering a point where there is going to be a super implosion in this area. So, yeah, I don't know.
Which I think we're seeing already because Knockout City is going out in a couple more months as well. But at least they're like, listen, we're going to run through our season to at the very least. They say that they're giving you time to like finish the game and their cosmetics are discounted, but they're still getting some money. Whereas Rumbleverse is like, here's your money back. We just wasted like 3 years of development and we're only live for 6 months.
Yeah, good guy developers, but that's really sad. Like as much as I didn't care about the game, that really sucks.
It was a bummer. It was a good game. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Next on my list, I talked about it with you guys a little bit. It's a game called Outriders, which I got for like, you don't even know what it is. I got this game for like, I'm not even kidding, like 10 to 20 bucks, right, at GameStop used. I picked it up. I'm like, you know what? This looks worth $10 to $20. And by golly gee, yes, it was worth the $10 to $20 that I spent on it. The gimmick is it's weirdly an always online game, right? Because you can have random people join in and like leave. And it's this cool sci-fi that like I love. Like as far as like a story goes, like Mike, you would dig it because basically the Earth is doomed. So they sent some spaceships, they found the planet. Some weird sci-fi magic stuff happened, and your main character is now 80 years further in the future, seeing a torn up world. The gameplay reminds me very much of like Gears of War. We're like, oh, sweet. There's all this, you roll, you get cover, you shoot over the cover. But then it adds these cool abilities, kind of like Borderlands. And it is a looter shooter. So you go in and just kill mindless, endless hordes. And it has a difficulty system similar to Diablo, where once you hit certain thresholds, you can increase the difficulty and get better loot and better gear, guns, stuff like that. And then once you level up even more, you can increase the difficulty to it goes to like Inferno mode or something like that. And it gets really, really hard, but essentially it's just a never-ending horde mode. You just go to different areas. The voice acting is truly atrocious. It sucks. It is so bad. There are moments where like, wow, this game is beautiful. And then other moments I'm like, wow, it looked like they just wiped their butt with this game and just gave it to me. Like it just is so inconsistent in so many ways.
Credit card.
Yeah. It's like how Fry has Oreos inserted into him. Futurama.
Good news. There. It's a suppository.
Yes. But the game itself, like I actually did find myself caring a little bit about the story, but it was just a fun, turn your brain off and gun go kind of game. And it wasn't that well received. It was on the PS4. It was on the PS5, like a lot of games still are. That was a game that really got some heat and probably deserved it. But I had a blast with that game. I think I still have it somewhere in my entertainment unit. But I played that for about a month straight. And there's a lot of replayability as well. Like once you beat it, there's essentially like missions and more quests. It's just a giant horde mode. And you can bring in your friends, your outfits get crazy. It's scaled to each person individually, kind of like how the recent Borderlands games have. Like you can be level 50, your buddy can be level 10. You're going to fight the same and be happy and merry. So I enjoyed that game. You guys probably know nothing about it. I had a blast with that one. I thought it was neat.
I'm going to be 100% transparent. I am never going to try that game out. But thank you for
But this is why they suck, and you don't care. You just don't care.
and I absolutely loved it. I got a few other lists. I'll go quickly through some of them, but there's four in particular I really want to hammer home. A quick one is Exit the Gungeon. It is the sequel to Enter the Gungeon. They made a sequel to Enter the Gungeon, which was a top-down roguelike bullet hell game, which was phenomenal. I loved it. Exit the Gungeon is the sequel, except it's a side scroller. Think kind of Metal Slug, but like on even more steroids. And it took so much of the heart and the writing and the character out of the initial game. And it's basically just another bullet hell. It's not even a roguelike. I guess it is a roguelike because their enemies are a little randomly generated, but it was nowhere near as good as Enter the Gungeon. But I still had a blast with it just because it was a bullet hell game. And I've learned I really like roguelike games. I don't know if you guys were like, I know, Mike, you in particular don't care for bullet hell games.
They have to be specific, very specific.
Right. So that was one I enjoyed that didn't get as much acclaim from the original fan base. And I'm sure it did well enough, but it kind of floated under the radar. I want to ask you guys to comment on that one, but I do want you to comment on this one. I think it was a commercial success. I enjoyed it, but retrospectively, so many people are crapping on this game for a whole lot of different issues. But this is a game that I absolutely loved, and I think you guys did as well. Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, that was going to
Bro, I cannot agree with you anymore.
See, that's the thing kind of about like a couple of the games I'm going to mention too.
You took a game from me, by the way.
You're welcome. You let me go first, man.
Bad games can be good games if you play them with the right people. And I think that more says, something about your friends in the actual game itself. But yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree across the board that Resident Evil 5 was not a good game, but good online. And it was fun, especially when we betrayed each other and led to horrible deaths.
That game was so corny in a lot of ways. Like they did a few things that I really liked, and then they did some things that was just such a big step in the wrong direction. Like Resident Evil 4, believe it or not, one of the coolest features that people loved was your suitcase, basically your inventory. You had to move your items to make it fit just right, and like you don't have enough room. This is like, here's a grid, buy. Like they took away this really cool element, and they said, hey, here's a partner that's AI is terrible. That is just terrible. It's fun when someone can play that character. What I ended up doing is like, here's a pistol. You will only use the pistol. You will use nothing else but the pistol. Hold some of my healing herbs. Like that's pretty much all I use the other character for.
I don't know, by the way. So I was actually going to take this step further. Obviously, the online is better. To Scott's point and your point. I replayed it. And I've been waiting to replay it again until I played the new Resident Evil 4 version. And like I did a replay of Resident Evil 2 remake. I did that whole thing because they updated the graphics and ray tracing. It looks great, wonderful. Then I did a playthrough of 3, the remake, which it was better. Still not great. It's sad. Great, whatever. So I've been waiting for 4, and I've been waiting to do another playthrough of 5. But when I played through 5 again because I got it on Switch on sale. I don't know if it was my brain, just nostalgia, just going, Fip! Or maybe they fixed something, but the AI, so Sheva was not as bad as I remember. Now, I don't know, maybe this is like a newer version, because I know it was on like the PS4 and everything. Maybe they kind of went, hey, when we release this, let's update our AI. I don't know if they could do that, but it wasn't as bad. It still wasn't great, but it was serviceable. That's the word. It was serviceable, as opposed to, I hate you. I want to shoot you in the face. Stop.
It was just a fun game from a gameplay perspective too. Like while the AI didn't shine all the time, and oh, don't worry, Mike's motioning something that I'm definitely going to talk about. Don't you worry, sir. But like Resident Evil, it's funny when I played Resident Evil 4. I don't know how long ago, but I've beaten that game 50 billion times. It seems every time I go into this area, I'm like, oh, I hate this area. Oh, I hate this area. Oh, I hate this area. Then I beat the game. I'm like, oh, that was so good. That's just because of like the environment and the challenge they put in there. And that one, I felt the same about Resident Evil 5, with the exception of that weird mini open world area with the boat and the swamp and the alligators.
Yeah,
that bit sucked.
That still sucks. That still sucks.
What also makes this game great, even though it's considered not one of the better Resident Evils, is at the very, very end. I'm not kidding. At the very, very end, one of the last things you do in this game is you need to hop from like one area to another. And oh, by the way, you're surrounded by lava, because why wouldn't you be? And there's this big boulder, like perfectly symmetrical boulder, just casually sitting there. You're like, all right, we're going to do something with that boulder. What are we going to do? We're going to shoot it with the rocket launcher. Are we going to just, I don't know, drive a car into it? What are we going to do? No. What Chris Redfield is going to do, he's going to freaking uppercut this boulder. He just starts punching this boulder, and you get a button mash. So you're punching this boulder, and the boulder slowly rolls into the lava. It doesn't sink in the lava. It floats in the lava, because that's what boulders do when they're punched. He was punching air into the boulder. That's what he was doing. He was putting air into that boulder so it would be buoyant.
They were building character, because he has to take on an impossible boss that he wouldn't beat up. But when we see him beat up a boulder, we go, oh, well, he has a chance.
Matt, what you don't get is the boulder was actually a metaphor for the guilt and anger that he carried with him from the events of Resident Evil 1. And each punch in that boulder was a step in him liberating himself from that guilt and knowing that now he can go and set things right by putting Wesker away once and for all, the man responsible for the events. I can't believe that went over your head, dude. Come on.
Yeah, it went over my head like a boulder. Definitely. It does explain, one, to completely bypass that well thought out response that Scott just said. We'll just ignore it and say this, because I have one other thing to say. Chris Redfield was freaking jacked in that game. Like he was muscly boy.
Chris Roidfield.
I like that, Chris Roidfield. And I think the reason why, and he discovered a workout that we need to discover ourselves, is punching boulders. That's how you get that jacked. Just punch those boulders. But that was a game that I absolutely loved. I usually don't like timed elements in games, and their mercenary mode is basically you have a certain amount of time. If you get the kills, the time increase. That stuff stresses me out in video games. The only time I played that and enjoyed it was with you, Scott. We spent like a whole day on our, like, I think you're somewhere else. So we weren't couch co-op. We were online. And we just ran through everything, got perfect stars. I put that controller down. I thought to myself, I am never, ever doing this again. I will never be this good again. Like at that point, I knew, I'm like, I don't think I can repeat this, even if I wanted to. But it was a blast, and I had fun.
Quick question. Did you ever play the Resident Evil 5 DLC? Mercenaries was DLC, but they actually had 2 like campaign DLCs. Did you play either of them? I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on them, if you have.
I don't think I did, because I don't remember there being DLC.
Yeah. So one was just hot garbage. You didn't even play as Chris Redfield or any. It's like I forget the like
you play as what's her face? There's a different character I think you play as, right? That they introduced partway through.
Yeah, it's like kind of actiony, but the other one was actually really good. The other one was kind of
it kind of actually went retro a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of Resident Evil 1-ish, and it was actually pretty fun, a lot less actiony. So not that I ever imagine you'll go back and play Resident Evil 5 again just to play this DLC.
I've thought about it.
But there are aspects of Resident Evil 5 I do feel like were really well done. So I wouldn't say it's like a completely terrible game. Like, I do personally think Mercenaries was very, very fun. It was a shame that you had to pay money to get that. And I do feel, I forget what the name of the DLC is called, but that one that's sort of Resident Evil 1-ish, that was also very well done. But other than that, I think one of the biggest sins about that game from a story point is there's not a single major character in that game that doesn't come out of that game looking worse or, at worst, looking like a clown. Like Wesker, joke. Chris Redfield, joke. Jill Valentine, not quite a joke, but she definitely,
she took a hit. She took a hit for sure.
She took a hit from that game. Like literally nobody came out of that game looking good. And I think that's a big problem opposed to Resident Evil 4. It's like, who cared about Leon Kennedy after you played Resident Evil 2? I certainly didn't. Play Resident Evil 4, Leon Kennedy is a badass. He is the man.
We love Leon.
Yes. And it was kind of sad that it's only one game apart, but, they couldn't go and do justice to Chris Redfield like they did to Leon. And, I think ultimately that's going to be the biggest disappointment in Resident Evil 5's legacy. I feel like that was kind of a very wasted game story-wise and did a lot of damage, a great disservice to a lot of characters that were very entertaining going into it.
Fun fact about that game. Scott and I, that is one of the few games I think I was working at GameStop at the time. I totally cheesed it and I called off work. And it's funny because I went and got it from a GameStop, but not my store, which was really funny. And Scott and I literally took an entire day, stayed home. We played online and I want to say we beat the game. Like we played literally all day. Like the only time we didn't play, we're like, I got to go to the bathroom, dude. I'll call you later. and that was it. Like we ate while we played. We played and beat that game. We played through it multiple times. We got what's the equivalent of a plat for all the trophy or all the achievements? We got everything.
Have 1,000.
Yeah, we got all of it. And then we started playing Mercenaries like crazy. So Scott and I had a grand old time with that game.
What a delightful game that was. And I'm glad you guys agree. We had fun with it, even though it's considered one of the, I guess, the black sheeps of the franchise for a lot of different reasons.
Or you can always say, though, like, yeah, Resident Evil 5 was bad, but it wasn't no Resident Evil 6.
So 6 was just bad.
So always have that going for it.
That's true. Gotta love when there's other things that keep the bar so very low. That's always my goal in life is what is the lowest bar? What is the bar? I just need to be slightly above that, and that's how you make it. Them's the truth. That's how you make it in business. There's some spoilers. All right. Here's one that might throw you for a little bit. There was another wrestling company at the time that was not WWE that made a video game. TNA Impact, Total Nonstop Action Impact, was a wrestling promotion that's still around, just called Impact now. And they made a video game. They made a video game that I bought at Best Buy new for like $10. And this game was not considered great. At the time, I thought it was graphically very, very good. It had a lot of wrestlers that I cared about. It had a lot of interesting matches and matchups and wrestlers I just really, really enjoyed. The game was not good. It was a bad game. That's one of the reasons why I'm a little concerned with the AEW game coming out, because Impact had a lot of input from the wrestlers that were gamers, which on paper, you're like, neat. You're going to be in a wrestling video game. You want to make it good, but you're not a video game developer, which is why I'm a little concerned with the AEW game that's coming out, but we'll see. But TNA Impact, I don't know if you played it a bunch, Scott. I know, Mike, you would not have, but I brought it over to our friend's house often. We played it. It was bonkers. It was crazy. It was just nice to have a different wrestling game. I couldn't tell you much more about it other than it had some wrestlers that I liked, some cool physics. It always amused me because I think they added some voice work where they said like the same line, like all the wrestlers said the same line over and over again whenever they did counters. It was a bad game, but I had a blast with that game. I don't need anyone to play it.
I did play it, by the way. And I wasn't into wrestling, and I just thought that looks fun. And a friend had it, and I played it for a max of, I think it was like 30 minutes. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
The only thing I remember about that game, and Matt, jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the campaign mode, you basically were a wrestler who was almost beaten to death and left in the middle of the desert.
Yep.
Got plastic surgery to look at like whatever your creative wrestler is. And basically it was just like a revenge plot to get back onto the top of the ladder and get revenge against the wrestlers who almost killed you. And to make it even weirder, they made that creative wrestler a real wrestler for Impact Wrestling. So somebody actually took on that gimmick and like portrayed it on television. And that's just kind of like multiple levels of bizarre to me.
Why did this fail? I didn't know any of that. I just played against my friend, and it was not.
Why do you think? Yeah, that's great booking right there. Sorry, booking is a wrestling term for writing storylines.
There's gonna be one person that hears it that goes like, "This is the podcast for me: bears and wrestling." That's all I ever needed. That's all I ever wanted.
I mean, isn't that a perfect combo?
Yes, it is. It is. I'm really glad you mentioned that, Scott, because yes, the character's name was Suicide.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And he wore a full bodysuit. I think he was like red and blue bodysuit with a mask. So you couldn't see his mask. And they put him on television to kind of hype the game. And this character lasted longer than the game by like 50 times. Like this character actually became a mainstay. And what was funny about this character, it was played by like 5 different people over the course of this company existing, which is hilarious to me. So many different people played this character. But that was a game I absolutely loved that no one else did, apparently.
Wait. It was Austin Aries?
At one point, yes. And several people played the character Suicide on wrestling.
I just went to look this up because I was like, I got to look and see what this character looks. And Austin Aries pops up on my screen. I'm like, wait, he was Suicide?
At one point, yeah.
Didn't Christopher Daniels take a turn as well?
And JT, what's his name? JT, I forget his name. He won the first Cruiserweight tournament that they had on the WWE Network. It's not JTG. but JPT, something like that. Multiple people, including Christopher Daniels. Frankie Kazarian, I think, played that character for a while as well. Yeah.
We're sorry, video game crowd. You know nothing about these names we're throwing out there. Maybe we'll go and do some like cross video game wrestling.
Everybody listening's like, oh no, we're taking a turn to somewhere I don't want to go.
We're sorry. We'll stop. We'll get back to games. We'll stop talking.
Yeah, we'll go back to games. So that was a game I enjoyed. Last two. One I'll spend more time on. The other one is, I talked about this before. There was a game that came out that I absolutely loved that was not well liked by a lot of people, including a lot of the fans. The Deadpool video game. Deadpool was voiced by Nolan North, and it was phenomenal hearing Nathan Drake say terrible Deadpool things. There were fart jokes, there were sex jokes, there were dick jokes. And then there was just gratuitous amounts of murder, and they dropped some D-list villains. Mr. Sinister, I think, was the main villain. Yeah, now Scott.
Wait, I didn't know that. That's he's not a D-lister.
There are
Come on.
D-list characters leading up to Mr. Sinister, who's the main villain in that game. The game from a graphical standpoint was okay. From a setting and where you go, I'm like, sweet, you're going to go to all these places of Deadpool. You basically go to a tower, and the rest of it is on Genosha, which, if you're familiar with X-Men comics, you know what that is. But that you're only there in Genosha, so you're just basically going from one wrecked area to another. So there wasn't a lot of variety in the setting, but the voice work was just nonstop. It was funny. You could customize your character very easily to get overpowered. It was an insane game. It was an easy game. It was just, I guess, more bullet hell, essentially. So you kind of see a theme with me here. But I freaking loved that game. It was written by the guy that was writing the Deadpool comics at the time. I think his name was Daniel Way. They even had, here's how I'm going to sell it to you, Mike. Cable was in this game briefly. And there's a bit where Deadpool is like, he got shot or whatever, so he's coming back to consciousness, and he thinks he's seeing an attractive lady. And then he kind of comes back into consciousness as Deadpool was staring at her chest. And it looks like, and it ends up he's staring at Cable's chest. And then you have button prompts where you can tell Deadpool what to do. One of which is to squeeze Cable's chest.
Wait. Which side? Is it his real side or his not real side?
I think the fleshy bits. But either way, like Deadpool kind of goes like squeak, and he like just squeaks Cable's bit, and you hit a button to do that. So you got to squeak Cable's boobs. Anywho, the game was a delight. A lot of people hated it. They did actually, I think, port it over to like the PS4 from the PS3 or in 360 and all that. I freaking love that game. No one else did. That is my ultimate guilty pleasure game. Phenomenal. Neither of you played it, I assume.
I remember you talking about it, and I just never got around to playing it.
Honestly, now you might enjoy it if you get it super cheap.
Yeah, if it's on, you just said it was ported to PS4. I might like look it up and be like, if I can get it cheap, man, I'll get it. You said the thing about Cable, and I was like, damn it.
I knew it.
Damn it.
You got one.
Yes.
I got one.
You got what you got. Yep.
Marvel, where's my money? I am single-handedly keeping the Deadpool franchise alive. No one knows who Deadpool is.
It doesn't take too much.
Mike said you sell as he's flashing his Wolverine shirt right now. All right, last game.
Another one.
I have one more.
He had a list. He meant it when he said a list.
You guys are making a list, but here's one that I'll let you guys talk on. A game that I've put more hours into than any other game. It had a recent update to Overwatch 2. Overwatch. I love this game. I keep playing this game, but this game has made so many bad decisions, and it makes me sad.
Wait, one or two? Because one didn't suck.
One was good. Two, I keep playing. I keep giving it money, but I'm just like, why have you done so many things that make me sad? I want to love you, and guess what? I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to keep giving you money for the battle pass. You've got me. I'm hooked. But the game has made a lot of changes that are just not great. And you all have comments on that, don't you?
Well, I have a spoiler for the topic that I wanted to choose, and it involves this game. So that's all I wanted to say. And I'm in the same boat. I mean, I enjoy playing it, but there's a lot that I look at and I go, why?
Yep.
Good job. Easier for the next episode.
Beautiful. I played it today, and I'm going to play it tomorrow and the next day. It's going to happen. But the game, and this is subjectively speaking now, the game is subjectively speaking not that great, with a lot of like weird matchmaking where it feels way more imbalanced than it used to be. I don't like the 5v5 at all. Game maps that I liked at first are now starting to really annoy me, which you'll be happy to hear. The push maps starting to drag on me a little bit. I like those quite a bit, but now they never end. They never end.
Push to the dark side.
Yeah, I have been pushed to the dark side. So, hey, that's my list. I did a lot because I did my own research by looking at my PlayStation trophies and my Xbox 360 achievements. I went like, what games have I played? I made a list of like, oh, I like that, but no one else did. So this is my list.
Fun fact, that's the same way I came up with my list, except I've done it the entire time Matt was talking about his list. So
let's go.
So Scott, then why don't you go? Why don't you tell us your list?
First, I'm going to talk about a couple games that probably nobody have ever heard of. And it's kind of sad because they're follow-ups to like very, very popular games. The first one is going to be a little game called Puzzle Quest Galactrix. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Puzzle Quest.
Yeah, you had me there. You had me there.
Is literally available on everything. And just to make it so like, oh, we haven't come out with this game in the last 2 years. Let's remake it. They did that a couple years ago as well. Well, what you may not know is they actually came up with a sci-fi based sequel, and it removed all of the heart and soul from the first game. And the first game, basically the way the combat worked is it had like little matching tiles, and as you match tiles up, they would disappear and then tiles would drop down, basic gravity, right? Well, since the sequel was in space, there was no gravity anymore. So tiles, you could drop it down. I don't know, maybe the tiles will come in from the left side, the right side, up from the bottom. Who cares? This gives a damn. Tiles everywhere. Tiles up the ass everywhere. And it was super, super confusing. And it was very, very much hated across the board. Like, after how amazing Puzzle Quest was. Me, though, I actually finished the game. I got all the achievements. I still liked it. Yes, was it a terrible experience? It definitely was. But I didn't care. I thought it was fine regardless. So that was Puzzle Quest 2.
Here's a question.
Yes.
Would you replay that game now?
So here's the thing. I probably would, and I think I actually tried, and it's not available anywhere. Like, nowhere. And the really weird thing is, if you do a Google search for it, you can only find like 100 pictures of it on Google. And that's it. Like, very few references to it. It's like almost if it's been like, scrubbed from history.
Maybe Scott made this up, Mike. Do you think he just made this up? Maybe he hit his head.
Maybe he had a fever dream about playing Galactrix.
When I saw you like try to slide under that pole at a church and you just headbutted it, is that when you played the game? In your head?
Also, another reason, like going back to all the various reasons why like only a masochist would love this game, you can craft ships. And the best ship in the game, you literally would have to go and try to complete a puzzle that took around 5 hours. So yes, I tried to go and unlock the ship for 5 hours just to have a ship with slightly better stats to help me clear maps a little bit quicker. Did I have anything better to do with 5 hours of my time? I was in high school. Not really. I certainly didn't give a crap about.
I was going to say, you were a kid, weren't you? Yeah.
Yes. Nowadays, like, if a game is longer than 5 hours, period, I ain't going to play it. I ain't got that type of time. But back then, it's like, yeah, I can go and spend 5 hours unlocking the ship. Anyway, enough of that game. The next one, Rock Band. Blitz. Again, something that probably nobody remembers, heard of. But amongst all the almost like bazillion of Rock Band games, Rock Band 1, 2, 3, 4, Beatles, Green Day, whatever, they actually came out with a spin-off called Rock Band Blitz. So get this, Rock Band, but you play it on your controller.
Oh gosh, I remember it now.
Wait.
And I'm going to be 100% honest. Was it nearly as fun as playing Rock Band on a guitar or drums or whatnot? Not at all. Was it fantastic for a lazy guy like me who was like, what sounds good to play? Rock Band. But then I have to pick up my guitar and I have to put together my drum set. What if I just play Rock Band Blitz and
it's just it's a rhythm game. It turns into not like a music game, but a rhythm game.
Yeah, you just push like A button, B button, X button, whatever. I don't even remember how the gameplay goes. But basically, it was kind of like the same concept. You had the highway and notes coming down it, but you would just push buttons on your controller. And I know that doesn't sound fun at all, and I assure you it really wasn't. But, it was a chill way to listen to your songs. And again, I had to go and get some type of replay value out of like the $1,000 worth of Rock Band songs. So,
that's right.
It's so much money on Rock Band. So
You
much
spent
money.
So much money on Rock Band.
I had to put when they're kids through college or something of all the money.
I bet they're as they think about bringing back Rock Band, like, hang on, Blitz didn't do so well. Why should we make this game? Hang on. There's this guy Scott.
Yeah.
He has given us $1,000. He is our Brendan Fraser.
I was just about to say he's our Brendan Fraser.
I am a whale. That game. You know what's sad? If they came out with Rock Band Blitz 2, I'd probably buy it.
100%.
Rock Band 5? I don't know if I buy Rock Band 5. I kind of want to buy all the instruments again. But Rock Band Blitz 2.
All right, you guys have a customer. Whoever makes Rock Band now.
All right, next game I'm going to talk about. And it's really ironic that Matt mentioned the wrestling game, and as a story, as it might maybe implied from Matt mentioning it, a really big part of our childhood was bringing wrestling games over to each other's houses and us playing them against each other.
Yeah,
we had certain friends who were funner to play wrestling games with others.
We all know.
I'm not going to go and say the name out loud. I'm just going to say it starts with C and ends with Riss.
I hate Riss.
Yes. But one game, everybody knows about the SmackDown versus Raw series. The SmackDown series was also pretty popular. Now, the series you probably never heard of was kind of the black sheep of the WWE wrestling game family, and that was Day of Reckoning.
Let's go.
I've played that one. Yep, that is a good one.
I don't care what all of you stuck-up, pretentious SmackDown fanboys say, oh, it's all about here comes the pain. It's all about just bring it. No, shut your mouth, know your role, know a good game when you play it. That's Day of Reckoning. And that's right. It also got a sequel, which is kind of amazing because with that said, the games weren't very good at all. Every single move you could break up when somebody was doing it.
That's why I loved it.
At first, that was delightful to do. So you don't have to go and watch like a 1 minute long John Cena suplex animation like in the SmackDown games.
Chris?
When it gets to the point, though, when you're just trying to end the frickin' match and you
almost made me spit out my drink, Matt. Thanks. Sorry, Scott. Continue.
The match, and you have wrestlers like The Rock who do a frickin' 45-second finishing move. It would be impossible to finish the match. You would start, somebody would run in, punch you, move broken up, and it was. There were some matches that I was just kind of wishing the sweet death would come to me. That I would just die of a heart attack. A bomb would drop just to end this experience. Obviously, I was too proud to give up and let my friends win, but I didn't want to live anymore. And the consensus is that's pretty adopted consensus across the board for that game. That breaking up move animations was not good. Story was terrible. It was pretty much a very forgotten wrestling game, in the shadow of the SmackDown series. But I had lots of fun with it with my friends, even when the games went over an hour long. And yes.
There are four things that all this is flashing back to me is one, I love playing these games with you guys. And the biggest thing that stuck out to me was a benefit is you could break up any move. So I'm just like, oh, you want to hit the 5 minute long 5-knuckle shuffle from John Cena? Nope. I'm going to punch you and you can stop it. It's great. It's beautiful. I also remember how difficult I think Hell in a Cell matches were. We used to spend the whole match like, how do you get out of this cage? And the only way to get out was to throw somebody like a certain amount of times, I think, into the corner. So we're like, guys, just throw me. Just throw me into the corner. I know I'm trying to win. Please just throw me into it. I need to get out of this cage. I remember that was super annoying. And then I also remember how annoying. See, it was both a good thing and a bad thing, how they did submissions in that game. Because in the SmackDown games, it was basically hit a button, mash it as fast as you can. And that sucked. And this one, they added sort of a rock, paper, scissors type deal to it, but it still had too many options. And that's how all the matches ended. Every single match ended in submission because everything else could be broken up. But the game was a blast. I liked it. Graphically, it was weird. I remember that. Last thing, another reason why I liked it so much is by default, if you pull out a weapon, if you hit somebody, I think a certain amount of times, you automatically got kicked out of the match. So our friend, whose name rhymes with Riss, would always get himself DQ'd, and he'd like, "Can we restart the match?" And we'd be like, "No, no, you've done this to yourself. You will watch us have fun now."
I'm really glad I didn't play with that game with you guys.
I
played it with other people, and it was a normal amount of fun.
Counterpoint: why it was very annoying. So in wrestling, in case you don't know how it works, they go back and forth, they do some slams, they punch each other a bit, and then it comes down to the finishers. They do their finisher, hit the person, pin them. That's how a regular match is supposed to be. Finishers did not mean jack shit in this game. You could go and hit 5 rock bombs in a row to the other guy, and they could still kick out. You do one little scoop slam, one little suplex, and they're out. You can pin them. Man. It was ridiculous. It was, it was an experience. And I do have a lot of nostalgia, good memories of it, but it was rough gameplay wise. There were so many mind-boggling decisions they made in that game. All right, we good? We got Day of Reckoning out of our system?
You just made me happy thinking about it. Yeah, go for it.
All right, so here's my final one. Now, this is a game that everybody probably definitely has heard of and probably quite a few people have played, and it is universally hated. And I don't know why. I think it's pretty good. I think I had a good time, and that's Gears of War Judgment Day. I really like Gears of War Judgment Day. I'm going to be honest. I was the one that kind of came up with this topic of games that suck and I don't care. And the game I had in mind when I came up with this topic was Gears of War Judgment Day. And I did this just to try to convince you all it's not that bad. I think one of the biggest critiques of the game, and I guess to give you guys a little background on it if you didn't play it, was basically an arcade version of Gears of War. Same exact gameplay, except instead of going through chapters that can last a half an hour, it was split into 5-minute sections, which basically you were just transported to a new room. And they had a story to explain okay, now you're in a courtyard. Now you're inside the building. Now you're in a base. And basically you would have to go and fulfill an objective, and usually it just boiled down to it being like a mini horde, kill all the waves of enemies. And then you get an arcade score. Oh, this character got the most amount of points. Cool. Next map. And I don't think the weapons would carry over. So if you found a really cool bitchin' weapon on that map, don't have it for the next one. It was just basically like you were playing an arcade game. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great, refreshing change of pace after playing 3 other Gears of War games, and the formula got a little bit old. I think that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love Gears of War 5, because they completely tossed out the old Gears rule book and did something different. But in that case, it was something different that people liked. Another thing people didn't like about it, which I think is so stupid, is they didn't like that Baird was the main character.
I was going to say, that was the only reason I didn't like it. I like Baird, but not as a main.
Baird is undisputably the best Gears of War character. And I don't understand this Baird hate. You need to go look in the mirror. You need to go and just kind of wonder where you went wrong in life to become a type of person who would not believe that Baird is the best character in Gears of War.
Let me give you a great example. I'm about to change your mind.
They gave you a gift. They did not only create Baird, they made a whole game that starred Baird, and you just spit in their face. How disrespectful do you have to be? How ungrateful do you have to be to do something like that? How do you defend yourself, Mike?
Okay.
Let's
take me.
All right.
I'm great in the group when it's not just me. You love me when I'm with other people. But when it's just you and me, and you get all the Bauer Tendo. How you feeling?
Feeling intimidated.
And you're also feeling a little resentment, aren't you?
Am I? I'm feeling a little
So that's my point, is that Baird is great when he has when he's part of the cast.
Go ahead, finish.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm great when I'm part of the cast. When you just got me, you better check out quick. You better get out. You better get out while you can.
More like you better bear it out. Better in my head. You're gonna edit this part out, okay?
No, I'm not.
It's staying.
You wait till you see my edits on the other episodes, man. I don't cut very much.
You bear it out. It works in my brain, but it doesn't work when I say it. That's
kind of like the game.
Kind of like the game.
No, all right. I have thoughts. One, I actually have not played this game because the last Gears of War I played was 3, because that was on the 360, and I have not had an access to any form of Microsoft game until recently, now that I have a PC. So I haven't played this game. Baird, just from what I remember from the games, is he works well with an ensemble. Nothing but Baird. I can understand the argument, but I have no say in this conversation because I haven't played the game. But I do want to call out Scott, you really like this game. You liked getting dropped into random places, doing the mini horde mode. You thought it was a lot of fun. You liked getting the score at the end.
Yes.
Great. You should play Outriders. You literally described Outriders.
He just flipped it on you.
Literally described Outriders.
No, because I only play something that has a number at the end of its name or a spin-off.
Outriders 1.
I will play Outriders 2. If you come out with a Outriders 2, I'll give
you. You heard it here. You heard it here. If they make an Outriders 2, Scott will be playing it.
Has to have a number at the end. Has to be a sequel.
All right. I have nothing else to say on that game. I haven't played it. But as you're saying, it's like, that is Outriders. Scott is describing the Outriders.
See, here's the thing, though. Play Outriders? I don't know how the hell to play Outriders. What the hell is it on? I don't know. I ain't going to go on eBay. Gears of War Judgment, Game Pass. You literally can just boot up your Xbox, your PC right now, download that son of a bitch, and you know what? And you will be a convert.
I'm going to Google if Outriders is on Battle Pass or on Game Pass. I'm going to do that real quick. It's probably not, but if it is,
I think it might be.
Spoilers. I'm still not going to play it.
I think it might be.
Oh, please don't be on there. I don't want to check it.
Okay, so we did a little cut there because Google Meet likes to shut off. But we discovered, no, I say we. I was going to. Matt did the work. Celiac Matt, why don't you tell Scott what you discovered?
No!
Hey, Scott,
no!
Guess what game's on Game Pass? Guess what game's on Game Pass, Scott?
I don't want to guess. I don't like this game.
I'll tell what. I'll guess for you because I'm a benevolent, nice friend. It is Outriders.
Who makes
Outriders is on game Square Enix. The game.
So okay, I have a compromise. I have a compromise for you, Scott. And you know what? Maybe I'll get in on this too. If Matt gets Game Pass and downloads Outriders to play with you, would you download it and play?
That is like less of an incentive than before.
All right.
Not only would I be playing a game I have no interest in, but I'd be playing it with a person I have no interest in playing with.
Let's go. He's intimidated by my skills.
I'm a little bit scared right now.
I'm the carry in Overwatch, obviously. He feels the pressure.
His new war.
You almost did it again.
Level is putting me that it's getting me scared. I don't think a bear could go and beat a horse.
Well, that's true. Probably not. But hey, that game's on Game Pass. Anywho.
More proof that Game Pass, best value in gaming today.
I'll agree. Now that I have a PC, I might actually get that at some point. I'll have to get through my backlog here.
I will say this, Matt. I am not above this. Okay, I'm not above doing these things. There's some games where I'll just tell you no.
Sure.
I have Game Pass. If you get Game Pass, start playing Outriders, I will try it. You have my word. I will try it. I won't guarantee I'll like it, but I will try it.
I'm going to keep this locked and loaded. So next time we actually play games, because I actually am interested in playing Sea of Thieves, because I just got into that game, which is stellar.
I'm waiting for you, man. I'm ready. I got it installed again.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know. Anywho, Outriders on Game Pass, Scott. What a delightful cut that's going to be for the podcast. Anywho, hey, Mike, you've heard about our games that a lot of people think sucks, but we had fun with. What do you got? What do you got over there?
So I got 3. Okay, I had more. Some people stole some. Not naming names. 2. I'll go with the 2 that are going to be both of them are on the GameCube. Okay, one of them Scott is actually really tied to. So let's start with that one. There's a game that this was before internet, like really heavy internet stuff. It was like kind of budding. And there was a game that just looked so cool to me. And for my birthday, Scott got me this game. He got it for legitimately surprised me.
I have no idea what this is.
He doesn't remember.
No, as soon as you hear it, you're going to go, oh, damn. In this game, when there was a bunch of... This might have been the first instance that I didn't realize. I didn't realize at the time. The first instance of overhype, where these games are, they're overhyping it, and then you get it, and you're like, what the hell is this? This is No Man's Sky, right? And I loved it. and I still do. I have my copy out there. I enjoyed it. I played it. I beat it, and I liked it. And that game is called Too Human.
I did buy you that, didn't I? That was a Christmas gift, I think. All
No,
right.
that was a birthday. It was a birthday gift.
Okay. Right.
I do remember that. And so you got it for me and legitimately surprised me. And I was so excited to play this game. And when I played it, I was like, this is not what they promoted this game to be. And I still loved it. It is a hack and slash. It's like kind of futuristic. I'm not going to go too much into detail on it. It is very, very repetitive. I mean, it is the epitome of being repetitive. And there was something about it that just like, it was cathartic to me. Like so it's kind of, I get, maybe this is why people like looter shooters. Maybe. I mean, this is why I like Borderlands is getting that sweet loot, getting the guns, getting the up. It's a new one. And like somebody watching me play that game is like, what the hell is wrong with you? Too Human was the same way, but it was just a bunch of orbs. And then you had to sift through the orbs and go, okay, what can I keep? What's good? Oh yeah, I can add this and it'll build. So like you build your character, but it's not like an RPG or like even like how God of War did it, God of War Ragnarok, where it was like, hey, you've got trees, you can build out, you get skill points, experience, blah, blah, like any other standard game with that, right? It was, I want to say thousands. It felt like thousands. It's probably more like hundreds. There was so many different things, and I don't know what it was about it. Looking back on it, it was boring. It was one of those like, oh, this is not the game we were promised, and I love it. So Scott, good job.
Hey, would it upset you to know that I bought that for $10 on clearance at Circuit City?
No.
Good.
I mean, I got it for free, so I didn't have to pay the I think it was $50 at that time. Maybe it was $60. The $50 for the full price. So, all right. Didn't bother me.
The thing I love about that game that you may not remember is they actually announced before the first game came out that they were going to do a trilogy. And I just love it when, like, before the very first one comes out of anything, like, what's that? Like, the Monster Cinematic Universe that Universal tried to do is like, we're going to do a whole cinematic universe. We got, like, 10 movies lined up. And it's like, well, have you come out with the first one yet? Not yet, but we got all these others. It's like, well, maybe you should work on your first one not being terrible. Same exact thing with Too Human. It's just like, God bless you guys for thinking that game was going to get a sequel and a third game.
And I will say that the lore and everything behind it, although being incredibly stupid, it was kind of endearing in a weird way. I can't explain it. I can't even recommend it. I can't recommend it. But I love it.
But you liked it, and that's all that matters.
Yep. That's all that matters.
I think that's where we're getting at. You know what? If you don't like our games, screw you. Who cares? You're not the one playing it. We're playing it.
Or maybe you could go try it yourself.
I was watching gameplay footage of this as you were talking about it because I recognized the name, but I'm like, I don't remember when this game was. This was the 2008 Xbox 360, at least on the Xbox 360, maybe others. This looks like a bullet hell game, but in particular, I know it's a 360.
Oh, you're right. Like, sorry, I got it on the 360. I said GameCube. The other game that I have is on GameCube. This one was on 360.
Because I was about to say, like, I was looking at this. I'm like, cool, GameCube graphics. Oh no, that's 360. This game looks booty, graphically speaking, gameplay wise. It looks booty.
You should look up the trailers that they had before. I think they had a couple of like previews or whatever, and maybe they're not there. Maybe they were like, take them down. No proof. But like before, it looked badass, man. It looked badass, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm all about this." And then it came out, and it was literally the Jurassic Park. It really was, and I didn't care.
No, I get it. It's the gameplay. Honestly, you'd probably enjoy the Deadpool game, where it's similar to this as well, where you have machine gun or lasers or pistols or shotguns or a sword or katanas or a big ol' hammer, boy. You'd probably enjoy Deadpool because I'm watching this game like just gameplay and how they transition from moves to moves looks awful, but I get it. I can get it, but this game looks awful.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I like that.
So that's one. The other one, I don't think either of you played, and this was another hyped game. You see a pattern here. This one was on the GameCube. I don't know if it was on anything else. I think it might have been an exclusive on the GameCube. And it's a really cool concept. The story was actually pretty good. The game itself, I can understand why people hate it. And that game is called Geist. And what it is, yeah, so what it is you play as this dude. He's like an operative or something, and he's going undercover at this site. Something's going on, something crazy. You get there, and you find out they're messing with something that like messes with the soul. And you're like, what the hell? And you end up, I don't remember the specifics, but you end up getting pushed in. You fall into, something happens, and you're in this machine that they created, and you are separated from so like you die. Your body's dead, but your soul, your Geist, your ghost gets separated. And so you play the game as a ghost. Now you can, so like you what's the word I'm looking for? You take over somebody's body. What's the word? I'm drawing. What is it? Possess. Thank you. Yeah. You possess people. So you can't just go, like, you could possess like stupid things. Like if there's a rat or something, like you can go possess them and now you're a freaking rat. It's cool. But you can't just possess people. Like the will of their soul will push you off. And they have like different colors and stuff like that. And so you have to scare them first. You basically have to make them pee their pants. And then while they're in that state, you possess them and then you can move forward. Because
that's gross. I don't want to possess somebody that has wet pants.
Yeah, well, I mean, they freak out and then you go take over their body. It is, as you probably would guess, it is extremely linear. Okay, you would think that, oh, this would be kind of cool, like you can go through walls and do this. No, it is do this a very specific. This is the Splinter Cell of Ghost games. Okay, to tell you that. But there was something about that game that I just absolutely love. I have that one. I bought it full price. It's sitting out there in my other room, and I don't know what it is. It's bad. It's so bad. But there's something about like you literally you would possess a broom, and you'd shake the joystick, and then the broom would fall and they'd be like, what? And then you'd like go into a light, and then you'd start pushing the A button and it'd go pow, and you'd be like, oh, and then like you could see his scared meter going up. And then once he was scared enough, you'd get into him, and then it was a shooter. Then you could be like, and it was like, the concept was kind of cool.
Wait, it was a shooter?
I've been watching. All right, Scott, as Mike's been saying this, I've been watching this because I recognize the game. I'm like, okay, it's a shooter. This looks kind of fun. But then he started describing the ghost stuff. I was like, what? And then as he described it, I'm watching the gameplay of you basically taking over a body, murdering other people. You take too much damage. You go
and then you just poof out.
Broom,
you don't die.
And go take someone else.
Mike, that was like the M. Night Shyamalan of games. Like
that is a great description of this game. This is the M. Night Shyamalan of games. 100%. And maybe that's why I like it, because I used to have a really, you guys know, I used to have a huge soft spot for that dude in his films. And there's something, and it's still, like, if you think about it, if you step back and think about it and think, I can possess a dude, just go murder people, these bad guys, and I die, and I just kind of go, oh, all right, who's next?
Is that the noise the ghost makes?
Yeah, she's like,
It'd be funny if it was like a fart. It was just like, all right, I gotta
fart
leave this guy. And then the guy's like, bro, is that you?
Our bottom version one right there.
There you go. So that was another game.
Would you say the game was bad though?
Oh, absolutely. It is look, man. I have nostalgia glasses on, but I'm kind of doing this thing where I'm like lifting them up and looking at the game. It's bad. It's so bad. I can't recommend it, but I love it. It's the concept of it and everything, and I don't know. I just really enjoyed my time with it. Whoop. All right, my last one. My last one. This is one that I would actually recommend, and I know neither of you will ever play. And listeners, viewers, maybe you have played it, maybe you won't. I wouldn't say that this game sucks. It is extremely controversial. Like, extremely controversial with players. And you guys probably both know what this game is by me saying that. It is a newer game. They did a new update for the PS5, a director's cut, which added a bunch of stuff, by the way. And I started playing it again, and it's fantastic.
I got you. Lay it on me.
Any guesses?
I'm guessing it's Death Stranding, right?
It's Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I freaking love that game. I don't care what anybody says. And look, I'm a Kojima fanboy, okay? And Metal Gear Solid 5 left a really bad taste in my mouth, but that was a whole other topic. And I went into it like, Kojima Unleashed, he's with Sony. Yeah. And then we saw what we saw, and I was like, oh no, he needs to be restrained. He needs that person that's like, maybe instead of this, do this, right? That's what happened with Metal Gear Solid 3. And so I didn't play it. I got it for $10 on the PS4, along with Days Gone, which that game I actually don't like. So that could have been one for you, Matt, because I know you enjoyed it. But a lot of people like that. Anyway, beside the point, I got Death Stranding for $10, and I didn't expect much. And by the end of it, I was like, I kind of like that a lot. It's weird. At first, it was like, this is boring. But the more I got into it, you're fighting the terrain, and it's like planning. So it's the preparation, and there's something about it. And then with the PS5, they added a lot of cool things, like you feel things in the controller. Also, you grab your you got that giant thing, the exoskeleton, and your packages. You grab your shoulder straps, and you pull each of the triggers. So like right trigger is this arm, left trigger is this arm. So like if you start to fall this way, you grab this to kind of like and pull it down, and you feel it in the controller. It's super cool, and they added a bunch of extra stuff. It's wonderful, and the music is great. The visuals are great. The story is batshit crazy, and I love it. It's wonderful, and it's on Game Pass.
Wow.
No, it's not. You're a damn liar. Is it?
Oh no.
100%.
Are we gonna get Scott with two games?
This was a PlayStation exclusive.
No, it is not, boy. They went multi-plat, boy. And it's on Game Pass, boy.
They can put Death Stranding on there, but they can't give me fucking Metal Gear Solid 4. It's only been like 15 years.
But see, that's Konami. That's not Sony. So anyway.
This is a game that at first I'm like, absolutely not. This looks stupid. And a lot of that's because I didn't care for the Metal Gear games all that much, which we talked about in a previous podcast for me. And I know you all think I'm wrong. But I have looked at gameplay of this one. I know you hyped this one to the moon. You even did a podcast where you highlighted this game, I think last year or year before. And I was just like, maybe on sale one day. Because I walk past it sometimes when I think about it. And then I also think about like, this would be, because oftentimes when I'm playing games, I'm next to my wife. She's playing games or something on the other TV because we have two TVs next to each other because that's how we do. And there's some games that she will absolutely hate and refuse to even like watch me play it or even be in proximity to play. And that would be one of those games. She goes, Matt, this game is nothing. This game is boring. There is nothing happening. Please do not make me watch this game.
But I have a counterpoint to this. So this one is the other two games, don't play those. Those are for me. And maybe like the one person that listens to this podcast, they go, yeah, that's a good game. I will die on this hill with Death Stranding. If you want, it's all about this, your perspective. What are you expecting from it? See, the problem is that we think of Kojima, we think of very specific things, we think of Metal Gear Solid. It is not Metal Gear Solid at all. That's the problem. As soon as I got past that and I went, this is a game that okay, let me describe something that happens. You put on your packages, and you're walking and you're going to deliver. You're out in the middle of nowhere. This is pre-pandemic. They were creating this, and then the pandemic hit, and it was like, whoa, this is eerily like similar to what's happening when everybody was on lockdown. So you are this person that's risking going out and dealing with these bad things that are out there, people and these weird things. Not going to get into that. And as you're walking, all of a sudden this very atmospheric electric guitar kicks in. You're like, "Oh." And then you see this thing pop up on the screen that says so and so by Low Roar or Churches or the band, and they give the credit right there, and I'm like,
Yeah, I
"Oh."
see that right now.
And as you're walking, you're just kind of like, you're still like, you have to pay attention because you can trip, fall, break the stuff, fall in the river. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could do. And the camera just starts zooming out, kind of like Stray, where you're sleeping. And it just kind of zooms out. And then the music fades up. And you're still going. And you get this sense of like, I'm out here by myself in this vast space. And that's okay. It's so, I hate to say it's so zen because that sounds so stupid, but it really is. And then it kind of wakes you up with moments of like, oh shit, there's a BT. And then then it's the improv part of it of like, how do I get past this and get through it? And the game lends itself. It's not a Splinter Cell. It's like, you can do this. You can get out of it. And like the whole message of like, you're connecting everybody. You're bringing people together. You're trying to, it sucks and you're not going to get it exactly how you want it, but you're still going to try and you're going to do your best. And some people will be on board, some people won't. There's something about it that just connected with me. And I get it why people don't want to play it and don't like it. I get it. But I still think you should play it.
I'm going to make the pitch that I know Matt will go for. Matt, you can take your poop and you can go and put it in the gun, and then you fire poop bullets.
Please confirm this, Mike.
Yes. Well, they're grenades. So you can, well, and yeah, so you have poop grenades, you have pee grenades, and you have shower grenades. And I'm not joking. So the story is they find out that your body has this thing called dooms. Not going to get into it. It's like I said, the story is bad shit.
Is that what
crazy.
happens when I eat too much dairy?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
But the dairy is these weird black things that float in the sky, but then all of a sudden there's handprints, and they are actually pretty intense moments. And
like when I eat dairy.
Exactly.
Dude, poop being fired from a gun? That's pretty damn intense. You don't have to tell me, man.
And you can literally kill these things with your Oh, I forgot. So you got shower water, you got piss, you got shit, and you got your blood.
Is it listed as
that?
The
big four right there, guys.
Blood, sweat, tears, piss, and shit. That covers it.
I hope it doesn't cover it. That would be gross, but I'm with you. I was not going to crap on this game, pun intended. But now that you mentioned that I can shoot poop at people, I'm slightly interested in. Scott, I hate you so much because 100%. I was just like, what?
Yes.
Go on.
Yes.
Gorilla turd
and
like
get okay. So Scott, you're drawn to this. It's on Game Pass, bro. So what's the worst you could do? You try it and you go, okay, well, I wasted a couple of hours, and then you move on. Or you can have the time of your life. Matt, it is on what?
When you have to like reload your gun, do you kind of like squat and then like right?
No, you do that all preemptively because you're smart.
So he just carries around his poop with him ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
That checks out. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing is about carrying things.
So is he like, hey guys, I had some Thai food last night. Gonna go load up a couple rounds for my gun. Like, does he base his meals the previous day on like, oh, I think I'm going to go.
In fact, you don't even eat. You just drink. You literally drink Monster Energy.
Oh man, that's how he knows the good stuff.
Does the type of poop you have matter? Like if it's like,
Nope. Because
if he's not hydrated and therefore it's a darker shade of yellow, when he throws that, would you call it a golden shower at that point?
Yes, you would. You
get
the BTs get golden showers. And by the way, you can just so you're out walking, so you can't do it when you're near facilities. It won't allow you because you're close. They can see you.
Well, that's awkward.
You can literally. I'm not joking. There is a mechanic where, like, when you're out there in the wilderness, you can just unzip and start taking a leak.
As it should be.
And the camera kind of goes behind you and then stays, so you can't move it, and you just start peeing. And then once you drain it out, and there's actually a trophy tied to that, by the way.
Wonderful.
And you just drain yourself and you relieve yourself, and I don't know what it does, but it's there. The mechanic's there.
Leading the snake.
So, look, man, that is a hill I will die on. I know it's controversial, and I get why people don't like it or don't want to try it. But that was a game that I played, and by the end of it, I had feelings. Like, it wasn't like a game like God of War Ragnarok. Let's not compare. That's something else. This game is more like Matt. You'll like this reference. This is more for me like a Like a Dragon, Yakuza Like a Dragon, where it really hit me. And it hit me in the right way, and I loved it. And it's good. It's a good Zen game too. Like when you're at night, when you're ready, when you're winding down, you pop that in, you start playing, and you just start delivering packages. There's something cathartic about that, and just like I said, the moments being out by yourself. So Game Pass, awesome PS5 features. Go.
All right.
And the director's cut added a bunch.
You had me slightly more interested, and then Scott got me more so with Poop Gun. I will look into this one.
You can get the director's cut. Like, it goes on sale all the time now.
Yeah, we can have like colors, customers that I can like customize my Poop Gun.
I don't know if you can customize a Poop Gun.
You can get a golden Poop Gun.
The golden.
And it fires golden turds. Nuggets.
Yeah.
Nugs. So yeah, so that's my list. That's my games that they suck or they're controversial, but I love them, and I have played them multiple times. Okay, do that again. Do that cut again.
Ha!
I'm gonna leave that in. All right,
please do.
So Matt just effectively cut to our next topic. And this is a topic that I wanted to bring up. So I kind of alluded to this earlier with spoilers with Overwatch 2. Now, the more recent example of this, and I think both of these games are probably good examples because they are not the same, is how do we feel about playing games from companies who are shitty? They're just bad. So the two games that when I was thinking of this topic, the two games specifically I thought of were Overwatch 2, and I mean, you could go Diablo 4, you could go regular Overwatch, whatever. It's Activision, right? They are, and Bobby Kotick, whatever you say, that dude needs to go to jail. He needs to go to jail, and he's not going to. But whatever. That game and Hogwarts Legacy and the whole J.K. Rowling thing, transphobe thing, and playing the game, you are a transphobe, or I can't trust you now so all this stuff. How do we feel about that? What are your thoughts on this? At the risk of, getting canceled, because that's the theme every week.
So a lot of my perspective comes with what I do professionally and have for 13 years now is human resources. And human resources specifically for larger companies, where a company, and I think its product and output is not the sum of 1, 2, 3, 5 people. It's a sum of a lot of moving parts and a lot of people. And with larger organizations of any type, and I'm not just talking like businesses, I'm talking community groups, even churches, things like that. There's always going to be a couple folks that are just like, you are not a good person for whatever reason. And the question then becomes, does the action of the few result in action needed to the many? Now, it's kind of hard to frame it that way because sometimes the action of the few are the face of the organization, of the company, what have you. So you really do have to have some accountability. And I think what really matters, and this is generally speaking, I'll address the subject more directly in a minute, is what is the company doing or organization doing to correct, to amend, to whatever. In the instance of Activision owns a lot of things. Activision owns Blizzard. Is Blizzard the ones that made the games that we like and we enjoy, like Overwatch. Well, enjoy is subjective at this point.
Enjoy enough.
Enjoy enough. I'm still giving them money. Is it enough to basically say, I'm going to stop? And maybe pending like official, like Twitter from Blizzard says, hi, we hate women. Like if it's like, if they just like official, if that's their official statement, then it's kind of like, all right, I guess we're done with you. But then you also have to look into the accountability. Is like, are they appropriately being, getting their hand smacked appropriately? Which no, of course they're not, because they're executives. And this has happened everywhere. I have worked for a nonprofit where I've seen people just completely screw up and they get fired and get like 2 years of severance. Like that's just the name of the game everywhere. So is that reason enough to like I'm not going to play Overwatch because of some really bad eggs in Activision? So the general answer from an HR standpoint is you got to look at the sum of the product and the people and time. And there's other people that did do things that were likely not involved in any of this bad stuff. So they have a paycheck because that game is being purchased and played by you. So the short answer, unfortunately, I have to say is like, it doesn't in fact impact me as far as buying games. Another example, of course, is Hogwarts Legacy. Of course, what Rowling has said is not great. But at this point, is Harry Potter bigger than her? Is the Hogwarts Legacy bigger than her? My answer would be yes. You can agree with that or not, whoever's listening to this, because I think those that wrote it, made the game, they're like, we're making a game that essentially...
Oh my gosh, look down there. One of my people is playing Hogwarts Legacy right now on Steam. I just saw my Steam friend, the friend popped up and said it's playing Hogwarts Legacy.
It's me. Yeah, I did it. It's a sign.
That was perfect timing. Oh my goodness.
As far as Hogwarts go, they even have included a trans character that's actually a pretty decently featured character. And some people say, oh, that's not enough, or it's just pandering. Well, in which case, if it's pandering, then what would happen if they did nothing at all? We'd still be angry about them. So my short answer is no, it will not impact me from buying a game that I think looks good, unless, I guess, and this is where you kind of get a little gray and fuzzy, is like, is the company as a whole reflective of these bad individuals? And it's kind of hard to say no when those bad individuals are so higher up. So unfortunately, my short answer, firing from the hip, is I'm going to keep playing Hogwarts because I think they did a phenomenal game. I'm going to keep playing Overwatch because I still enjoy the game. But then the question is like, at what point do I be like, oh, I have to stop now? So my short answer is I'm going to keep playing it unless they really like cross the line. But what's the line? So there's my non-answer with some unasked for how I review these things from an HR perspective as well. I'm gonna still play it.
Well, that took my answer, so I'm gonna have to go and
figure something else out to say.
You're welcome.
All a little bit while I think of something. There we go. All right. So I guess the question is, what does accountability look like to you? What does it look like what is a proper punishment? Is it just 100% boycotting the games? Kind of like how Matt alluded to. That hurts a lot of people. Like, there's tons of devs and even voice actors, QA people, a ton of people go into making a game. And is it really, I mean, it's like you go to a restaurant, you have the world's worst server, they're terrible, and you don't want to give them any tip, but then you remember like, all right, well, this gets split, the busser, the guy in the back who's cooking, the dishwasher, there's a lot more people this tip's going to. And even though like they didn't do anything wrong to me, my dishes are clean, the food tasted good, why should they suffer because the face person that I interacted with was a tool? And it's kind of my same policy with that. With that said, should you go and give them a get out of jail card? Not at all. Hold them accountable. And I think Blizzard is, more could be done. More could always be done. But I feel like Blizzard is definitely not getting a get out of jail card. Activision isn't getting a get out of jail card. They have all these lawsuits. They have various government agencies looking into them. And even if they get clean bill of health, the government doesn't do anything to them, which I think, I haven't followed it, but I'm pretty sure there's been like lawsuits filed against them or they've had to pay fines or there's been settlement.
Like the state of California.
The state of California filed against Activision Blizzard.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, even if they don't do anything, if they only get slapped on the wrist, they took a hit to their reputation. They suffered stock-wise. Like, there were repercussions. And could more be done? Definitely. Have they suffered? Have they got away scot-free from this incident? Definitely not. And so I guess it's like, what, yeah, maybe the best thing to happen is all the management's wiped out, all the upper management's fired, and all, they clean house on that. Is that realistic? No. Would Blizzard, Activision, whoever probably crumble in that situation? Yes, because maybe they got out some corrupt people, but at the same time, it's not like you can go hire like a whole new team of 100 new managers to fill it up there. So it's kind of, unfortunately, you have to hold them accountable. Some you can't fully clean house, so you got to work with what you have, make sure that, they're being responsible, they're getting better, and they know that the eyes of the gaming world is on them. They have to do better. And I think they are doing better, whether it's because they had a change of heart and know what they did wasn't cool now in hindsight, or just, they don't want further damage coming to their company. I don't know. Either way, kind of the same to us gamers. And the selfish, evil part of me says, I don't care at all. I'm going to play Diablo 4 with a big smile on my face. I've already asked for a week off from work to play it, and I'm going to enjoy it. It ain't no shame in that. You ain't going to go and you're going to make me feel bad about that. So there we go.
I do like that you brought up stock, and I assume most gamers don't know unless it's like
disclosure. I own $10,000 in Activision stock.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, you used to.
And that was, of course, you bought them years ago. I remember that. But that, I guess that raises the question is, did they suffer? I like your 2 points. One is, yes, their stock took a hit. I don't know if it's rebounded because I'm not following it. But yeah, when something like that happens, they do get hit there, which does make investors and the board very, very cranky, where even if they're like the most racist, sexist board that has ever existed, they're there because they like money and they go, oh, if we do these things, we lose money. Hey guys, don't do these things. So at the very least, and I like what your point, what you said is like the eyes of the gaming community world are on them. Like, I really didn't even think about stock and stuff like that. So I'm really glad you said that, because yes, they actually did have some form of repercussions. Now, is it someone being ousted? No, but they did get hit somewhat in the pocketbook, which is the biggest way to hit these things and drive change, because money drives everything. Even if you work for a nonprofit, like I have historically, money drives everything. So boycotts won't do it. But I think at this point, image, view, optics is the way to go. So I know a lot of times it's a local minority that is like raising the red flag on a lot of things, and some of it valid, some of it not. But at this day and age, that apparently is the best way to get it done. But hey, they got hit in the pocketbook. What else can you ask for other than you hope that they step down, which I don't think you're going to get that. But good point, Scott. I like those.
I think those are all valid points. Just to play devil's advocate here, because this is something that I've actually thought about a lot, and especially with my kids, like them growing up, and I'm just like, I wonder if my dad had been involved with any of this stuff, and I'm sure none of this is new, and this isn't just the video game industry. This is anything, really, honestly. Like there are known and factual things stating that people died, people committed suicide, people did these things because of horrible things, at least with Activision Blizzard. These horrible things, bad harassment, mental issues, but like literally there was a case where somebody committed suicide because of everything that was going on and they got pushed over. How does a financial repercussion adjust, and also too, it's also been put on record. And again, this isn't just, hey, that person over there had a gripe and said something. This is the state of California presenting facts and stuff to the courts that Bobby Kotick, the dude that ran, well, I think he still actually runs, I could be wrong, Activision Blizzard, threatening to kill his secretary, like somebody that was like there, threatened to hire somebody to kill them.
Jeez. That's on the record?
Yes. Look it up. And this dude is still getting money. This is to bring politics into it. There was a thing that this was allegations. I don't know if it ever turned up to be true. Gavin Newsom, good old California, was trying to not block, but trying to like move this thing away from Activision Blizzard, and basically protecting Bobby Kotick, who is like the top guy there. And he I didn't know all this harassment and all this stuff was happening, when everything else that they brought up points to yes, he did. And you know what? He still, like, people keep telling me like, oh no, that's real fat. It's the state of California. And I just keep seeing it happen. I'm like, nothing's going to happen. Okay. So he gets hit with a financial thing. Is that sufficient? And then that kind of takes it out of the realm of me purchasing that game or playing that game. That doesn't mean shit in the grand scheme of things. If you bought Hogwarts Legacy, do you think that's $70 went into J.K. Rowling's pocket specifically? No. She already got her money. And she's got royalties. So my point is, why aren't you boycotting Universal Studios? There's literally a whole land there that's Hogwarts. Why aren't you boycotting any bookstore that has anything to do with Harry Potter? Why aren't you boycotting HBO? They have all the Harry Potter movies on there. Why aren't you boycotting Warner Brothers and all of their other movies? Now, you could boycott other Warner Brothers movies because they're bad. But, like, where do we stop? And what actually makes a difference? I feel like buying a game or not buying a game. What does that do?
Yeah, not really. I mean, sort of related, but also a little bit different topic on that too. And I know I'm opening a whole different can of worms. I'm a very strong proponent of separating art from outside stuff, from politics, from stuff. Because if we go and start like, hey, let's not go and watch any Harry Potter movies. Let's not read the books because of what the author said. Again, you could feel either way, but it's okay to listen to a Michael Jackson song.
For the longest time, my wife, she was like, I can't do anything with Michael Jackson because of everything that he did. And I'm like, I get it.
This is still a controversial one right now, but are you a bad person for liking the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, for liking Edward Scissorhands, if you're on that side of the debate about Johnny Depp? Like, you can't go and continue to... Has the Pirates movies changed at all? You could be in the camp of like, well, the Pirates movies have always sucked. So yeah, but like, has somebody gone back in time and changed anything about those movies? Like, that's my issue. Like, if we get to a point where we're retroactively going to pieces of art that we found acceptable at one time and now saying they're unacceptable because of things that have happened since then or things we have found out since then, art's really not going to be safe. And we are, going to go and wind up in a position where there are very many things out there that we're no longer supposed to watch or supposed to play or supposed to go and listen to. And I think that's a very slippery slope. And I think that's a pretty dangerous world that I don't want to live in. So I think I don't mean to go sound self-righteous on this, but for the good of society, I think we need to go and kind of do a more conscious effort of separating art from the person.
So I know I have something to follow up with that, but I'll let you go, Max. I know you were wanting to say something there.
No, just I was reading up on him real quick, and it says that the rumor is if Microsoft does end up buying Activision Blizzard, which I know there's that whole monopoly thing that they're dealing with right now, he is going to step down if that happens. If it is blocked, he's likely going to stick on, which sucks.
But even if he steps down, guess what?
Yeah, he gets paid. That's how it works. That's how it always works. You can be the best.
He doesn't get any problem. There's nothing, no repercussion for him.
Yeah, he's set for life. So really what I think needs to be done is more, again, from an HR side, I get so angry when I see a colossal failure of the HR side because it shouldn't be happening. The only way for this to happen means not just one set of eyes had to look the other way, several had to look the other way. And that upsets me so very much. Just because, again, that's what I do is human resources. And it just blows my mind to just see this happening. As gamers, what can we do? I think the best you can do is call it out. Obviously, do a little bit of research as well. Don't just like shoot from the hip because you saw a random TikTok or tweet or something.
Bayonetta 3 voice actress.
Yeah. So I tend to not comment on stuff until I've really looked into it, because so we don't know what we're going to talk about going into these podcasts. So I didn't know this question was coming. Therefore, I didn't specifically like look into it a bit. So you guys are telling me some stuff. I'm like, what? Really? So I've just been looking at it. I'm like, dang, you're right. That guy, I already knew it was not good news, but now I'm really seeing some bad, sketchy stuff here. And the fact that he's still there and might stick around if the sale doesn't go on, that just sucks.
Right. And that's
that guy, but that's the way of the world. But again,
but just because it's the way of the world, should we not try to change it?
I think at most all you can do.
You know what? This person kills kids, and you know what? That's since I grew up. That's just been the way it is.
I think
is that okay?
It's a difference between realistic outcomes. So going back to the suicide thing, would have been great if old Bobby did something about that, stop that culture. Yes. Realistically, are we going to change that, us three, if we don't buy any Activision games anymore? No. Can we be supportive of people in our lives that we see are struggling with mental health? Can we go and do a better job of not making fun of people online if they're going through bad times, telling them to get over it, have an issue, here's a tissue. Can we go and try to make the world a little bit better place? Yes. And again, maybe that's just a drop in the bucket of what the world needs, but there are positive things we can go do. Can we go and talk about things like this? We don't just go and talk about, hey, here's the poop gun that we can fire stuff. We talk about very serious subjects of like, these are games that we like and we want to continue playing them because they're so fun. But man, the things they're doing aren't right. We're not hiding it. We're not going and skirting over the topic. We're addressing it. We're having these hard conversations. So,
yeah,
are we going to go and get them fired? Are we going to go and get house cleaned over in Activision Blizzard? No. I mean, in theory, if everybody goes and doesn't buy their games, could that happen? Definitely. Is that realistic? Not at all. You have to go and accept the world for what it is and not for what you want it to be. And this is the way the world is. You got WWE, Vince McMahon, who is literally harassed and done terrible things to countless women.
And he's right back there.
Back in the company. And and got all these other, we can keep talking about like Bill Gates. Bill Gates has done horrible things. Steve Jobs, he did horrible things. That's just kind of the way it is. Is that okay?
Don't meet your heroes.
No, don't throw up your hands and do nothing about it, but be realistic. And you know what? Be the change you want to see. Be the example, like Matt. Matt, you're involved in HR. I'm sure hearing about these things, you're probably a respectable HR guy already, but definitely, it's like, man, that was a bad thing, blah, 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 did. I'm definitely not going to do that. I'm going to go and be the HR rep that
I'm supposed to be and I should be.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what? Yeah, maybe things could still use work in the video game industry, but and whatever it is you do, health benefits or whatnot, well, you know what? It's going to be the example of what the video game industry should be.
And that's kind of what I was kind of falling to, too, is it's the, like J.K. Rowling, okay, I'm just going to go on record, say, when J.K. Rowling first started saying stuff, at first I was like, why is everybody flipping out about this? Like a couple of things she said. And then I don't remember what it was specifically, but there was something that she tweeted or said, and I went, okay, you have gone off the deep end. You are wrong, okay? Regardless of if what I believe in all this stuff, these people are not me, and I don't run their lives, and they're not hurting anybody else. Why do I give a shit? Why? And what she's saying is actively hurting other people. So shut up. Buying or not buying a game is not going to change that. What needs to happen is we need to be the support for those developers to stand up and say, look, like the developers at Activision, enough of them stood up, the state of California took notice, and that's how you make some kind of change, something. The state stepped in, right? Not just us three dudes not buying or buying a game. That doesn't do anything.
And I think that addresses our quick point: are we going to buy the game if we think it's a good game? Yeah, that is what it is. But the question overall, I do just really thinking about this. I do think at least it's a step in the right direction. Like I know it's like just a drop in an ocean. But the fact that this is actually known and people are actually talking about it, and the gaming industry was pretty shut off for a while. But then you find all these news about how it's a very chauvinistic environment. You stop and think about it like, yeah, I believe that. We all believe that. That completely makes sense. I've seen that in environments that aren't. HR is predominantly women. That's just what it is. But I've seen some terrible things from that side as well. I'm not like pointing finger. I mean, overall, I think we can agree that dudes are the worst. We are.
They really are.
We really do. But it's us not buying the game or buying the game is going to change anything. But if you see something bad, I mean, honestly, even though sometimes it's time where people get up in arms like, oh, this is the thing we're angry about. Cool. Just look at it a little bit. And if you think, yes, this is bad, just tweeting it, following up on a hashtag that throws it out there in the algorithm that now people are looking at like, okay, a lot of people tweeted this thing that it's bad. We should think about that. It's not a lot, but it is something. And I think you're allowed to do that. I think we should. And I think we as just humans need to hold others accountable as long as it's from that point of accountability, not like, I hate you, die in a fire. It needs to be like, this is bad. Let's professionally address it. At least that's how I handle HR. Anytime we had to fire somebody, it wasn't like, I want to fire him. No. Where's the documentation? Have you done the write-ups? Have you gone through everything? Do we have proof? We can't just fire somebody.
You give me the proof, and then we can say, you're fired because this, and this, period.
Unless you're Bobby Kotick, then, we ignore it.
Yeah. And that was my whole thought in bringing this up. I think you can love a product, want to play or enjoy a product, because then that's a slippery slope of, okay, do you drink soda? Do you wear clothes? Do you there's a lot of sketchy stuff in this world that happens with, this shirt that I'm wearing of Wolverine that I just love because I love Wolverine. Probably made, if I'm being realistic, probably made in not the best of ways. So where do we stop? Again, I think we need to focus not on this virtue signaling Twitter bull, but rather meaningful, reach out to your HR rep and make sure your HR rep is actually an HR rep and not some jackass. You know what I mean? Whoever it may be. And then enough people, the people or the institutions that can do something, take notice so they will do something. Or they're left, they have to do something, otherwise they look bad, at the very least, right? Which is kind of where I felt State of California was, where it was like, oh, we got to do something about this, man. All right, let's do it.
I miss some of living in California, not all. I miss some. Like some things I'm like, that's a good policy. And others I'm like, no, don't do that.
That countered the good. Yep. Still the same. Well, anyway. All right. Well, we'll end that deep discussion there. We went from stupid discussion, just stupid fun, to, hey, question your morals, you jerk. All right. Last things to say, then the quick Scotty Porta Potty rant.
Oh, it won't be quick. It'll be as long as I want it to be.
Oh, gosh.
You got like 8 minutes.
You know what grinds my gears? People telling me that I have to have short rants. You know what? My rant is going to be exactly how long. No, that's not going to be my rant.
Yep, you have 7 minutes before Google Meet kicks us out. So, Celiac Matt, give me your thoughts.
Hi, I like video games. Celiac Matt on Twitch. I hope you like video games too. Come hang out with me, and I hope you enjoy these discussions. That's it. Bye.
All right. And I'm Bauer Tendo. Check me out on Twitch. I like playing games too. I also like superheroes like Spider-Man and Wolverine. I hope you do too. And I might actually play the Deadpool game at some point after this podcast.
There you go. Something at least came from all of this.
Something.
Apparently isn't Bobby Kotick getting fired, but at least Michael played Deadpool.
Nope, not that. Oh, and go play Death Stranding. That'll make you feel better about the state of the world. All right. It's that time to cue the music. It's Scotty Porta Potty. Go!
Look over there, he just doesn't care. He's going off on a crowd of people, throwing words in the air like he just don't care. He's yelling at all of us sheeple. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's a Scotty Porta
All right, potty boys, you ready for this one? You know what really grinds my gears? Fat shaming dudes. It happens all the time. Why do we think it's okay? We make jokes about fat bastard. What about fat bastardette? No, that wouldn't be okay. Like, it's okay to go make fun of fat guys. Let's go to Avengers. Yeah, that's everybody make a joke at fat Chris Hemsworth's expense. Now, what if there was a fat black widow? Fat widow. And they made jokes the entire movie about she's a widow because she ate her husband. That would be unacceptable. Oh, but it's a guy? Yeah, that's all right. We can just make fun of him being fat. Guys have feelings too, all right? And what's the deal with just saying if a guy's fat, he has man boobs? When you have all these tasteful terms for women, like, oh, double D, C, all that stuff. But no,
Tasteful?
But no, man boobs, yeah. Man cakes, like all these degrading terms.
Man cakes, I've never heard that before.
That's a term of endearment, apparently.
What just happened? Man cakes?
I think we just got mansplained about man cakes. What a...
I just see two pickled flesh.
You know, like pancakes, but you know, that's
just giant nipples.
For those that are listening, Scott and Mike are making motions with their hands that are quite unsettling.
Oh,
you know what?
Man. I'm
Be
crying.
Fatness. That's the average American male. This is what fat looks. No, I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just gonna tease you all. You're just gonna have to use your imagination. But you know what? Fat shaming is not right for anybody. Dudes, chicks, just don't do it. Last person I fat shamed was 6 years ago. You know what they told me? Scott, I know you're just trying to make a joke, but if you ever do that again, I'm gonna punch you so hard in the face, you're gonna swallow all your teeth. And I haven't done it since.
Jeez, let's go.
I would really like that person to somehow be listening to this podcast. Maybe it's 5 years from now, and this is uploaded on the internet, and they reach out to you.
Outside Scott's window right now, like holding the baseball bat, like good.
We are actually friends now. I think. I don't know. Maybe he's just waiting for his chance, but you know who you are.
Character development, baby.
Yes, exactly. We can learn. We can get better.
All right. Well, we're not, believe it or not, that's not going to cancel us this week. We're going the opposite direction this week. Good job.
I'm trying to make the world a better place. Not like telling you Star Wars is bullshit wasn't trying to make the world a better place. But
okay, there's our cancel again. You just repeated it, so it's coming back. Oh, boy. All right, guys. Well, we're about to get kicked off. Viewers, listeners, you're awesome. You the best. As always, these goobers are great. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody. And with that, bye.